let's chat about something we've all faced, dodgy emails and messages. From your inbox to dodgy SMSs and even those sneaky social media DMs. Scammers are everywhere and they're always trying to pull a fast one on us. So, yeah, I think first things first, Dan, let's maybe chat about recognizing the red flags in digital communication. Could you maybe give us the how-to of dodging these digitally deceptive messages?
Cool, S. So, Jesus, since the beginning of scam artists, it's all about, from the very, very early days of scammers and the earliest days of internet scams and the rest of it, it all comes down to communication. So, we can talk about phishing, and then there's smishing, which is SMS, and then there's all sorts of different shit. And every week, someone comes up with a great new ishing way for scammers to contact us and communicate with us. It's all the same thing. It's all social engineering, and it's a way that they will communicate with us to either take an action that we wouldn't normally do or hand over information that they want against us. And right now, in this digital age where we are flooded with communication from every channel under the bloody sun, the different ways that they can do it are endless now. We live on social media, we live on our phones, we are getting calls bombarded, we're getting emails, we're getting shit's coming from every inch of our lives. We're getting communication, and so these spammers are jumping on all of those different communications. So instead of talking about phishing and smishing and vishing and there's all sorts of different shit coming out now. I'm not even going to get into it. It's all scam communication. It's all social engineering. And so some of the key ways to be identifying these, there are still key red flags in any communication, however you're getting it, because one of the fundamental things that scammers are trying to play on is our emotions, and a number of different emotions will trigger different behavior. And this is what they play on, is that psychology to get us to react, to get us to make a move, to get us to do something that we normally wouldn't, because they're playing on our emotions. And so all of these communications are created in that way. And remember as well, we've now gone in the last year, 2 years, from very smart, savvy cyber criminals who have tried to perfect the art of creating these scam communications to deceiving us and getting us to do things that we normally wouldn't, to now AI getting involved. And a lot of these organizations using AI to create the perfectly deceptive, the perfectly sort of emotional triggering communication to get us to do what they want. So, things are taking a different dynamic, but a lot of the same red flags are appearing in both those AI created communications now, along with the normal sort of human created ones. So first things first is wording, and weird wording and things that are slightly strange out of a message. Maybe, we used to talk a lot about spelling errors or grammar errors or translation errors. There's two bits of thought on this. A lot of people used to think that, okay, this was because it was people with, English was their second language, and it was the Eastern European hackers or the Russian hackers or the Nigerian hackers, and therefore their English wasn't very good, and therefore they would make grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes. The train of thought on that is actually it isn't a mistake. It's weeding out those people who will spot scams very, very easily. So if they're casting a really big net out over tens of thousands of potential targets, they don't want to spend time and waste their time with people who are easily going to spot a scam, because as they go further down the road, starting to communicate and open conversations with these people, they're going to realize it's a scam. They're going to leave, and that person was completely wasted time. So putting in grammar mistakes and putting in spelling mistakes, while that's quite obvious to a lot of us and a little bit funny to a lot of us, for those that don't spot those, they suddenly become a really good, bright target for the scammers. Because if they can pass that first step of not spotting that or replying to something that is so ludicrously like a scam. Well, now the scam artists are like, we've got a guy here. Everybody stop what you're doing and let's focus on this guy because he didn't even spot our spelling mistakes or our grammar mistakes. So that is believed to be one of the big reasons that they do that. So it's still something to look out for. But then counter to that, AI is now coming out with perfectly crafted emails and perfectly crafted messages that could come from, you know, someone that you know, or talk very much like somebody normally talks. So there's a balance to that, but it still definitely holds there. So wording is definitely a red flag to us. Next is the urgent trap. We've all seen those emails and those messages with urgency and act now, and you know, lots of exclamation marks, and that just triggers that psychology of the human that we need to act now. There's something urgent. It stops us slowing down, considering things. We launch into things without thinking, which is exactly what they want us to do. So anything pushing you to act now, especially if they want personal information or if they want money, they're classic scammer tactics. You know, real organizations don't normally rush you like that. It doesn't matter whether it's your bank or whether it's anything happen. You know, normal organizations don't talk to you like that unless you've got a shitty boss, and they talk to you like that normally, but then you're going to know that. So the urgent trap is something to look out for. Next is, you know, check who's asking. Anytime that you receive that info, you receive a communication, especially if it's an email, you know, if you get an email or a message from a company or friend and they're asking for something sensitive or asking for something out of the norm, you know, double check the sender's details. Now, obviously, if it's SMS, you know, you're going to be able to see, or text message, you're going to be able to see the sender's number. Okay. But there's ways that they can dupe that, and there's some swap fraud and different ways there. So, you know, you can investigate that. You can look at that. Again, social media, you can see where those DMs are coming from. But really, email is still a tricky one that a lot of people don't look at. You know, really investigate who the sender was of that email, because what appears in the sender's name may be very different to the actual sender email address. It's quite easy to spoof who it comes from. But you know, going into the drop down, looking at the sender details, and just double checking exactly who that sender is from, and looking at their email address, looking at their domain, making double sure that you trust that sender. So that's really important as well. Next red alert is just asking for personal information, asking for sensitive personal information, definitely asking for passwords. Nobody should ever be asking for passwords. So legit companies do not ask for your passwords. They don't ask for bank details via email, text, or DMs. You know, if they do, this should raise mega red flags. And it's scam o'clock and time for you to stop that conversation and contact your bank, or contact the account that they're trying to get into. Next, if something does, you know, trigger a red flag for you, verify it, but don't go through the email address that they've sent to you. Don't go through the telephone number in their signature block. Don't go through the email domain in their signature block. Go to your known trusted site and verify it through that way. You know, say that you've received a communication from them claiming that your account's going to get, you know, turned off if you don't act now, whatever it is. You know, please confirm this is legit. You know, so contact the real company. And then final red flag is, you know, big one in all scams. If something seems too good to be true, it definitely is. You know, no good, mega amazing things happen to me, so it's all scams. You know, the message about winning a lottery, or the latest amazing investment opportunity from Elon. You know who you are. If you've opened these and you thought that this is legit, okay, no judgment, maybe a little bit, okay, but these are scams, all right? No one's winning the lottery, people. The chances are ridiculous. And Elon Musk is not contacting you to get involved in his latest investment opportunity. So just stop it. You know, they're fake, they're scams. You know, unfortunately, the eldest amongst us, the eldest in our communities, the elderly are very susceptible to these types of opportunities, because it's about making more money, it's about making their retirement work, it's about, you know, those top opportunities that haven't come along, and unfortunately they're a lot more trustworthy for these types of things. And so it's something to be aware of with our parents, with our grandparents, with the older around. So try not to laugh too hard when they send it to you and ask for your thoughts on this investment opportunity. Just tell them it's probably a scam, and move on.
Yeah, brilliant, Dan. I think, like you mentioned, digital deception comes in many various forms. Obviously, we've spoken about phishing, smishing, which is SMS phishing, and then vishing, which is voice phishing. What are the risks associated with actually falling victim to these cyber attacks, and actually falling victim to Elon's latest get rich quick scheme?
Cool. Let's look at the facts quickly. So in 2023, the average ransomware attack in the States cost organizations on average about 4.62 million, about $4.6 million. And human error is real and accounts for 95% of successful cybersecurity breaches and cybersecurity attacks. So that human error element, it's that employee, it's that person opening that email, clicking on that link, transferring that money that was asked for, handing over their personal details, handing over their passwords. That is human error. And that is what, you know, these social engineering communications are all about, is triggering humans to do something that they shouldn't, that they know they shouldn't, but they still go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
You know, the top 5 impacts, the top 5, you know, devastating results of these types of attacks can be financial loss. Attackers can steal money, credit card information, login credentials to the banks, login credentials to cryptocurrency accounts. All of that is, you know, there's huge financial loss, and businesses are getting hammered, but individuals are losing life savings. They are getting absolutely devastated, you know, financially by these types of scams. And the social engineers, the scamming groups, the criminal entities, that they don't care, they don't give a shit who it is, whether it's your grandmother losing her life savings and all of her retirement, or it's your young, you know, family starting out. They'll wipe them out. So it's really not just targeting the big brands and the really rich. Absolutely everyone's getting hammered here financially. Identity theft is another big impact. You may not think, you know, it's the end of the world if your information is out there. If they get hold of your social security number or your national insurance number or your ID number, you know, what can they really do with that? If they get hold of your ID cards or your passports or really, you know, sensitive personal information, what can they really do with that? Well, these groups are able to put together some huge identity theft scams on it, where they can open up accounts in your name. They can take out credit in your name. They can completely destroy your credit rating and absolutely milk the credit rating that you've got, so that you will never be able to get credit again for many, many years. You will spend an absolute fortune trying to rebuild your credit status. And they may do, you know, criminal activity in your name with your identity. So there's a whole world of hurt that can come with bad people stealing your identity. And that's why, you know, it's really important to protect that and be very, very careful with what personal information you're giving out. Because if somebody can create other accounts in your name, whether it's social media accounts, whether it is banking accounts, whether it's, you know, whatever it is, there's a lot of shit that can come your way if you don't protect that identity. Next, data breaches. So successful attacks on businesses can expose really confidential business information, trade secrets, you know, big deals that are coming, huge, you know, IP of a business that they try to protect, and customer data. So that's really important to protect, because it's devastating to lose that type of data. It's also really important from a business point of view, because it can destroy your reputation if you're known for a company that gets breached. If you're known for a company that can't protect data, no one's going to give you their data. No one is going to trust you with their data. They don't want to do business anymore with companies who don't watch their cybersecurity. Their reputational damage is huge, and there's huge legal consequences for this as well, with big data protection laws happening in Europe, in Africa, in Australia, in the US. If you have a data breach and you lose customer data, you're in shit, and you're going to get smashed with huge fines for it as well. So, there are huge consequences there for data breaches. And then on the personal level, nobody wants their life, breach. They don't want, all of your documents, all of your photos, all of your memories, everything that you have, to be breached and removed, or locked up. So, with your ransomware attacks, maybe they're not taking the data with them, but they're breaching your systems and they're encrypting everything. So you can't get access to anything anymore. And that'll affect you like a business big time. But individually, at a personal level, that sucks big time as well. Not being able to get access to any of your documentation, any of your files, any of your photos, all of that would be a nightmare. Next, we've got legal and regulatory consequences. We've spoken about that. You've got your GDPRs, you've got your CCPAs, you've got your different data protection laws in Africa, in Australia, PCI DSS, with the credit card systems, or the different card systems there. So there's a lot of consequences from a legal and regulatory standpoint as well. And then finally, reputational damage. So individuals and organizations that fall victim to these attacks will suffer reputational damages, as customers and partners will lose trust. They won't want to work with you. They don't believe that you can protect their sensitive information, so they won't do business with you. They won't want to transact with you because they don't believe that you'll be able to protect their credit card information very well. So the reputational damage is huge from this. And so we talk about phishing a lot. We talk about social engineering a lot, and it's really, really important subject because so much devastation can come from this, and it can happen so easily. The minute somebody drops their guard, the minute they click on the wrong link, or they provide their information wrong, or they get suckered into transferring money to some fake account somewhere, it can happen in a heartbeat and completely destroy somebody for the longest time. So yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, 100%, Dan. I guess it's always good to go through your emails and messages with a fine-tooth comb, just to avoid any of the above mentioned situations from unfolding. But yeah, Dan, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for your insight, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.